All right, and welcome back to the Budcast, everybody. We've got a great episode coming up for you, and stick around. We'll be right back right after this introductory video with our special guest, Ryan from Athena.
Montana vibes under the big sky. 4-6 Budcast gonna get you high. Adam and Tanaki and Nate bringing the heat, no time to wait. From the mountains to the plains, let's fucking up, break your chains. Every topic, every strain in this cannabis domain. 4-6 Budcast, let's celebrate. Rolling up, it's time to celebrate. Adam and Tanaki and Nate in Montana, we dominate. From the soul of the pillars, we're on the map. Lighting up the scene, ain't no cap. Hip-hop beats in the background as we drop knowledge profound. From CBD to THC, we're breaking down the chemistry in this podcast symphony. Come join our THC family.
Alrighty, and welcome back, folks. We are here in the studio with Nate and Adam and Daniel and myself, Tanaki, as well as Hannah and Michelle behind cameras. And then we're also here with Ryan from Athena.
Hello, Ryan. How are you doing tonight?
What's up, gang? I'm very well. How are you guys?
We're doing awesome.
It's
another
day.
Awesome.
Man. Doing quite well. We got a little bit of gaming in there, and we're excited to get into our interview with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Heck yeah.
It's a pleasure.
Happy Friday the 13th.
Thank you. And it's an absolute pleasure to have Ryan over from Athena join us this evening. Ryan, if you don't mind, would you like to go over just a little bit about what Athena is?
Of course, yeah. So Athena kind of started about 6-7 years ago, 2017, about 7 years now. Basically, by growers, for growers. That was our original motto. Essentially, we found a lot of kind of nooks and crannies in the industry of being taken advantage of as growers, and we kind of created a line of products and a support system that essentially gets growers that support they need with more efficient products than they've been traditionally using. So super clean nutrients, products all around, and then the facility advisor support program that's basically free consultation for anybody that's using our products. So, and the gist.
That consultation, that goes from facilities to even a home grower. So like, for instance, I'll be running some of your guys' newts in a system, which we've talked about a little bit. And if I were having issues or if I wanted advice during that whole process, I could just call your team at any point during.
Absolutely. We've got facility advisors all over the place. I'm local here to Montana, obviously, but phone call away. Anybody for support, anybody has questions, needs help dialing things in. I mean, the nuance of Athena, it's a little bit different of a program than traditional nutrients have always been. So, it's kind of tough to get at first, but ultimately once you hit stride, you're going to be in really good shape. So absolutely.
Honestly, I'm really excited to see how Daniel's going to implement these newts. We actually did an unboxing yesterday. We got to do a bunch of blooper reels, messing around here in the studio, trying to get some edits and things and whatnot. It was really interesting to see how quickly, the whole it really is, plug and play system there. You just kind of dump it, mix it, shake it, and go. You've got your instructions on the side there. I mean,
just follow the instructions on the bottle, and it generally should get you where you need to go.
Exactly. A beginner could take this and use it right away without feeling intimidated by a whole bunch of different things or mixes. And that's something really good for a new and up and comer grower. Like if somebody's going to be looking for newts, you don't want some complicated nutrient program and all this other stuff. And this one, I mean, it's got everything you need. They have different varieties of nutrients depending on which way you're going. And it's just very user friendly. I think that's the word I was using before the pregame. So,
I mean, let's show them the back of the bottle here real quick. I mean, what you're looking at here. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, those are some of the easiest instructions that I've ever seen on the back of a nutrient bottle. So
yeah, all of the stuff came with QR codes for instructions and like a scheduled out guide. So that was pretty cool to see. Nice.
Absolutely. And we just dropped our Athena handbook as well. It's pretty much a comprehensive guide to cultivation as a whole, but surrounding Athena, obviously. But that one's great. So over 100 pages, pretty much from a beginner grower all the way to the advanced commercial cultivator that's really, diving into irrigation strategy, all sorts of different levels. So
absolutely.
Cool. I'll make
Oh, go ahead. No, please.
I was just going to say, I'll make sure that you guys have one if you don't already.
Yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely.
We
We'd
appreciate
appreciate that a ton. It kind of leads me into another question that I have for you. So Athena is a lot of it is pushed towards, specifically, in my opinion, hydroponic systems, because it's such a clean and easy product to use for that. Although you do have your blended line as well. Do you guys have any advice for someone who would just be doing hand fertigation? Does your system work for that as well?
Absolutely. I'd say the only struggle or challenge really it comes with this system is more for soil growers or guys that have media that's already has pre-added nutrients to it.
Right.
Hydroponic, obviously, like, in terms is going to be more direct nutrient flow, RDWC, different methods regarding that. We typically work with growers using cocoa or rock wool. So more inert substrate, basically putting the grower completely in control of what nutrients they're feeding the plants.
Perfect. Well, we got to give a quick shout out to all the people out there in the chat real quick. Joe, Kayla, we've got Christine Lawrence out there. Looks like, is that Shane?
Yeah, Shane Monday.
We've got Shane out there, and looks like Jane
Jane
Doe as
Doe.
well. Like,
Yeah.
that's awesome. So we appreciate you guys joining us tonight, and appreciate Ryan joining us all the way from Three Forks. That was one of the things that I got there. You guys are all over the United States, but you do also have a local rep here in Montana. And for the Montana market, I mean, it's pretty nice to have somebody that, might be able to stop by, or, you might be able to reach out to them fairly easy in the local area.
Absolutely. I mean, what I do with the growers really is I'm kind of on call. So obviously phone call support, whatever, but I mean, getting out to Billings, getting out to Missoula, up north of the Flathead area, it's very easy for me to do. So I would consider myself as an asset for some of the growers that are out here. Use me. I'm here. I'm happy to help.
Awesome. Well, the other thing that I know is that you guys don't just deal with nutrients. You guys deal with all kinds of other things, different product lines. The thing that sort of interests a lot of us as well is tissue culture sampling. Can you give us a quick breakdown on that and how you can help growers out there?
Sure. I'll be the first to admit I'm no scientist, but I do know a good bit about, how we do the tissue culture, why we use the tissue culture methods, and, ultimately what we're using it for. For the most part, we dropped a couple pieces of equipment over the last year or two, one of which being the tissue culture kit. We call it TC kit. It's essentially a couple $1,000, gives every grower the opportunity to do tissue culture, which essentially is two different steps. So one is going to be micropropagation. That's going to be essentially stripping individual nodes off the plant, going through a sterilization process through that, in the flow hood with an autoclave, sterilizing everything along the way, and essentially creating, new clones per se, but from sterile plant material. So that's one method. The other one's going to be meristem tissue culture, essentially, and that's a little bit more surgical, requires a different level of microscopy, little bit more intense. It's a much smaller plant material as far as an explant sample goes, but essentially the same process. We're going to be using it to store genetics. So anybody that's got a plethora of genetics in their library, doesn't want to run everything in production all the time, it's going to be a good opportunity for them to store those genetics, essentially creating a library for themselves. Excuse me. And then the other avenue would be, like I said before, the micropropagation, essentially sterilizing your small plant nodes and creating new plants from those. So it's a pretty cool system.
Awesome. And, they with that, you can also sort of revive the genetics and bring, some of those weak genetics back. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. It's restoring the original vigor. What we're doing really with that specifically the micropropagation and both the meristem as well. But what we're doing is we're taking the cleanest, healthiest, most vigorous growth from that plant that typically contains those original, kind of that genetic vigor. And we're taking those explant samples and creating new plants from them. So ultimately, we're getting rid of any potential genetic drift through the two types of agar that we use, one of which you can actually get away from hop latent viroid through. And other pathogens that way too. So it's a pretty cool process.
So
I was about to mention it myself, but I think I can sort of answer this. The cloning, or excuse me, not the cloning kit, the tissue culture kit itself is separate, and then you would either have you would keep your own samples, so they don't hold that themselves. It's not like our our other people that we've worked with, Pure Propagations, who do their own tissue culture holding. But if you were to purchase a tissue culture kit from Athena, you'd be able to do it. And I mean, if you were a dedicated enough hobbyist, it might be something that you could be interested in.
Absolutely. Yep. And to answer the question, how much does it cost? Usually it's right around $2,000, just under there. We typically recommend guys go through their local retailers, kind of hook up the middleman in that sense and go that way. So it's usually about a couple $1,000. Cool thing is it comes with the SOP and all of the equipment that you need to back up about 6 genetics right off the bat. So pretty much, plug and play right out of the box. Comes with the autoclave. The flow hood is built into the kit itself. Wow. I'm gonna actually have it set up behind me. So here in a little bit, we'll kind of show you a little bit about it. We'll dive into it and kind of show it off a little bit.
I was just about to say that. I was going to say, it looks like you've got an official setup behind you where you were going to be showing. It looks just like 100% official as fuck back there.
Thanks, man. It's taking a lot of work and I spend a lot of time in here, but I'm kind of taking up a bit of space. Usually this table of setup's not here, but kind of did a little display here for you. This is the kit itself. The flow hood's going to be built into this guy here. I've got it plugged in. Kind of cool. Once you open this drawer, everybody see good? So you open up this drawer, the LED light kicks on. And as soon as that's open and the light's on, it starts blowing the air at you. So it kind of creates a sterile space about 30 inches from that initial, that filter head. And then obviously from end to end of that flow hood. So you kind of have a decent sized sterile space to work in under here. These are our 2 types of agar. One's called roots, the other's called shoots. Kind of implied, roots is going to be for micropropagation. Your shoots is going to be for genetic storage. Shoots is really cool. It actually tricks the plant into thinking it's still part of the mother plant. And so it's really never going to grow roots. It's just going to slowly grow the foliage. So this would be where you would store your genetics, keeping it in the roots. And essentially at whatever point the plant uses up the nutrients that's in that agar or outgrows the container, if you're still keeping it in storage, all you do is take that sample, clean off the agar that's around it, and essentially transplant it into new agar underneath the flow hood. So we're always keeping it in these little containers, little 1/8 size drams, kind of about that. And that's it. I mean, you could have little explant samples of all of your genetics that are sitting on a shelf, essentially in storage until you want to bring them back out of storage and into production.
So quiet, but what do you add to such a scientific and full?
What's that? Sorry?
I was just going to say, what more could we add? Sorry, we're so quiet, just sitting here staring, but it's such a thorough explanation. We appreciate it so much.
It's just one of those,
course.
Take my money situations.
Right.
It's like a briefcase of a weed magnificence that you have here behind you.
Well, and the science behind it, that we've gotten that far with cannabis growing, that we have a packaged autoclave that provides you a sterile environment, and that there's, people like Athena actually putting the, time and effort behind that research and development to get those products out to everybody. And that is just damn amazing.
Friggin' Tony Dank over here instead of Tony Stark.
Tony Dank.
Iron Man suit, he just sets it down full auto.
You've got weed.
Right. Just
Yeah.
Dude, that would be the most official move in the world.
And
I'm here to save the day.
Well, and I know that, just Calvin, obviously, in the chat, and people like myself, I imagine Tanner would be feeling the exact same way, but we all wish we could store more genetics. Can you imagine having just a little closet full of genetics? Like, oh, remember that strain? And this is pheno-specific genetics too, right? Not just, oh, well, that's going to be an OG Kush. No, that's the OG Kush that you grew way back when, and the best form of it as well.
Absolutely. It's pretty sweet. Tissue culture has been super intimidating for people up to this point, really. It usually costs 50 to 100 grand just for a really good size, efficient flow hood. Plus, hiring a PhD to come in and run it, somebody that actually went to school for tissue culture. This is basically giving any average grower with a couple $1,000 the full SOP. You can kind of see right there. That's written and picture step-by-step SOP in the lid itself. So anybody, It's a pretty cool system. We're really excited about it.
really great about picture phonics, and I really appreciate the fact that people have adapted it out into the civilian world as well, because there's a lot of people who do not read the instructions at the top of the page, but they pay attention to pictures real quick. So hopefully they'll be able to propagate some good
Guilty as
genetics.
fuck. I was reading some of the monetization stuff for the page earlier, and I jumped right over one of the main sections that was part of the description.
Yeah, you got
And
it.
I was like, oh shit, nope, yep. And it took me a minute to double back to it, but yeah, those pictures get you, dude. I don't know what it is. I guess it's ingrained in our brains or something.
Hey, just a real quick shout out to a couple more people who've shown up in the chat. We got Becca out there. Of course, we know Kayla and Dank Queen.
Dank Queen.
Shane is asking what everyone is smoking on tonight. We sampled a little bit of Jack H before the show tonight, although we've had plenty of other strains today. What is the chat smoking on this evening? I'm curious to hear. Alvin, what are you smoking?
Shoot, while we're chipping in and letting some folks let us know what they're smoking on,
Why don't we
take a
check
look
out that
at the
video?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's check out that Athena video, guys.
Got a grill dough that needs some care. Athena's team is always there. From nutrients to tissue kits, your cultivation always fits. From seeds to harvest, large or small, Athena's the name that tops them all. Grow it clean, grow it right, healthy plants day and night. Pro or blended, take your pick. Fertigation smooth and quick. Pests and problems, we've got the cure. For vibrant crops, our name's secure. From seeds to harvest, large or small, Athena's the name that tops them all. Grow it clean, grow it right, healthy plants day and night. With Athena, you'll grow the best. Cannabis care that beats the rest.
Hey, welcome back, guys. I agreed to bring us back, so I'm doing that now. Anyway, Kayla just mentioned in the chat. Now that we're back, first starters, let's reel it in for just a second. Compliments to the fine folks here that all helped work on that video. It's a really, really fun time out here making those songs and videos for everyone. Athena, we hope that you guys like that, and of course, if you want a copy of that, we'd be happy to send it to you. So, Kayla in the chat. Right on. Cool. Glad to hear it. Kayla in the chat, you said you're smoking on some Mama's Brown Sugar. That's awesome to hear. That is a house blend blast that we did, and it is delicious and potent.
Yeah, Adam and Gina over there at Mo Treats, they used their blast facility to bring those diamonds and sauce down for us. Turned out really well. It's been a very big popular fan favorite for everybody. But I know that Tanaki had a bit of a question for Ryan over there as well.
Yeah, I was just going to ask if you could tell us a little bit about that auto doser system behind you.
Totally. So that's called a dosatron system. It's a pretty basic fertigation system, but essentially what it does is it relies on the water pressure that goes through the unit and a series of different plungers that essentially, based off of the length of that plunger travel, essentially your mil per gallon rate or a percentage of solution, it's going to inject the solution through those clear hoses all the way up into the system. And there's a little bell housing up there that has a little piston type injector that sucks the nutrients up and then mixes it in line with that water. So my system comes from a RO tank right there behind me, goes through a pump behind the TC kit, up and then through the dosers, where it's all being pH and EC monitored, and then it goes to a series of batch tanks that I've got over here. Currently just have the one flower set up, and then we'll get the second flower room dialed in here, as soon as we come up with another grip of cash. But like I said, I mean, it's a super basic fertigation system. Works very, very well. I call it Old Faithful or Old Reliable. It's affordable compared to a lot of the fertigation skids out there. So overall, a lot of growers are using it. Very easy to maintain and great company. So
RO water. So why RO water specifically?
Just kind of depends on, it depends on your starting water. If you have clean well water or city tap water, Athena is not specific to RO, but again, I want the growers to be in control. In my system, I've actually got well water that sits a little over 1 EC on its own. So I have to strip out everything there. And then I know 100% of what my nutrients are going to be fed to the plants. There's no guesswork. There's no potential deficiencies or toxicities because of what might be in that starting water. So again, we just want the growers to be in control.
Just pure science at that point.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with well water, man.
Yeah.
Follow science.
Man, you can't go wrong with well water.
Follow. I mean, you would say that, but then you got some well water out here, bro. Like that. Stuff is,
Well, let's say
it's harder than
well
the
water,
hardest.
We've grown some veg plants in an aeroponic system off just straight water out here. It's so hard. So I feel you, man. I feel you.
What are we talking? Like probably like 5 foot like root systems,
Dude, they're just ridiculous. I mean,
Man.
Some of them just happen to pop out. You go open the lid, and you're just like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. That's gonna be hard to transplant into a solo cup.
Oh yeah, no, man, this little guy's going straight into a 10-gallon.
Yep, exactly. It happens. It happens.
So, what other product lines do you guys got over there at Athena that would excite all of our listeners out there, and something that you guys are trying to get out onto the market and let everybody know about?
I know there's at least 2 that I'm excited about that you haven't talked about yet.
Okay. Well, we'll get into that. I'll ask you what those are, and we'll dive in. Kind of a quick overview. I mean, we've got our flagship product, the Pro line. That's going to be a dry soluble line. There's 3 parts: core, grow, and bloom. That's what you guys have in front of you there. We offer it in the 1 gallons there as a Pro mix kit, a couple different size boxes with different size pouches inside, and then the commercial 25-pound bag as well. But that's going to be geared a little bit more towards commercial cultivators, folks that are really trying to save money by going the dry soluble route versus liquids and shipping water all over the place. We're reducing the parts and combining them into fewer components, so it's a little bit more streamlined in that sense. Easier for fertigation systems like the Dosatron or any other injection systems. So you're not spending money on 8 to 10 different dosers just to do different products. It's a little bit easier in that regard. But that said, our blended line is phenomenal as well. Very similar to a traditional nutrient program. There's a CalMag 2-part veg, so a Grow A and Grow B, Bloom A, Bloom B, and then a PK booster as well, alongside of our water conditioners. So that one's a little bit more geared towards, I won't say inexperienced growers, but just like smaller scale guys that are maybe growing in a tent or a basement or something. I do have commercial cultivators using it. They do prefer those liquids, but just in general, it's a lot easier for folks to not have to mix those concentrates up. To dose their plants that way. So just a little bit different approach.
If I interject here real quick, Ryan, please. I just want to say we mixed those concentrates on video, and it took us 10 minutes and was so easy, guys. It was so easy.
And us laughing at ourselves.
Yeah, we were thinking around. I mean, really, it's a 2-3 minute process. You just pour the powder in, pour in a gallon of water, shake, and you're done. Yeah, it's so easy.
And that's a huge point. I mean, Athena's extremely clean. Extremely bioavailable, but when it comes to mixing into concentrate form, a lot of our competition has sediment at the bottom of the tanks, has issues with solubility, or it takes 30 plus minutes with hot water just to get these products to dissolve. Right. So like you said, I mean, just a testament at how clean that is, how soluble it is. I mean, you shouldn't be spending time mixing this stuff up. Once it's mixed up, it stays in suspension the entire time, so you're not going to have any nutrient fallout or sediment in those tanks that could get sucked up in one of those injectors and kind of ruin your system. It's extremely clean. Overdose, absolutely.
Yeah, that was one of the problems in the past, is a lot of the nutrient fallout would happen, and then your pump would pull off the bottom, pull 10 times the amount of nutrient that you're used to.
Not good. And it just comes down, dripper maintenance. When we talk about automated systems, where those dosers are going is going to be an automated drip system. Some guys are going like 0.3 gallons per hour emitters. I personally use 0.5 gallon per hour, but when you get into those, tiny little emitters, it doesn't take much to clog them up. And we see that's a lot of the problems that we solve out there, is clogged drippers, clogged emitters, filter issues, stuff like that. So it just really comes down to efficiency at that point. The cleaner the products that you're using, the less work that you're going to be putting into it as well.
Well, and it just changes your maintenance just a little bit from what you're doing from where you're growing, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Less maintenance overall.
I'm really looking forward to it. So in my personal home grow, I've been running a like 12 or 13 part different organic liquid, and it's,
Nectar
you
for the
know,
gods.
don't get me wrong, the quality of that final product is beyond
I'm
anything.
sure it's great.
So
God,
good.
You're excited to not
I'm-
have to measure that
Yeah,
every
same.
single-
Exactly.
Well, and I heard it smells so delicious.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
good.
yeah.
Yep.
The fish meal
Pros
just
and cons.
has pungence, and we on the opening video we even smell tested these because we just had to
Adam-
know.
Adam
And
tasted it.
Look,
Adam
yeah, I little just a tad of a taste because it smelled like tea.
What is wrong with you,
Just
man?
it smelled like tea.
he had to know. Whatever. He's
Yeah.
He's
known.
got a product.
He's
got-
still with us, so I'll take that win.
I gotta say.
yeah, just to check it out. But yeah, I did that courtesy sniff. You know, everybody heard Jeff Foxworthy. He talks about the courtesy sniff. Everybody, you'd be like, oh, you smell
Of
this, you
the
know?
Kraken. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I know everyone. I know about the courtesy sniff too. So I was like, hey Adam, smell these newts.
Bro, you have ruined the ability for people to use the thing
courtesy
anymore.
sniff
Somebody's
at
like, hey,
all.
smell this. My hell no, man. So my
No.
buddy Daniel got me this shit called the Kraken, and now I can't smell anymore. Actually, so
Mild diarrhea. It's
So-
not, you know.
I am really, really excited to run these newts. This will be my first time running a hydroponic system, and I went with the Athena newts because when I was looking up and researching newts, it came back as by far the cleanest line. And I love that your guys' Pro Mix line was so simple, just 3 parts. And then obviously, if you want to, you can do the fade as well at the end, which I probably will be, but that's
Totally.
optional.
Well, that's Fade. Actually, now that you bring it up, Fade was one of the products that we dropped a couple years ago that has been an industry game changer. I mean, there's really not been anything as far as like a finisher per se. I mean, you know, you've got ripeners, you got this, that, whatever. Usually contains different percentages of nitrogen or nitrate sources. And ultimately speaking, our Fade product takes the place of our Core for the last 2 weeks. Core contains nitrogen, Fade does not. Same with the bloom. So when you're pairing your Fade with the bloom for the last 2 weeks, we're really engaging senescence in the plants. Overall maturity.
Beautiful plants through this
Beautiful.
process, guys.
And it translates to cannabinoid and terpene production as well. When we're stripping that nitrogen out and we're encouraging the plant to senesce a little differently, it's not going to have the natural delay of that senescence. Ultimately, it's going to produce more cannabinoids, more terpenes, and get you a more colorful end product as well. It's been a game changer.
You know, it's sort of ringing out to me that we have 2 different tables side by side that are about 16 foot long. And it might be a smart idea to maybe do a side by side comparison at some point.
Oh, that would be fun.
Just to sort of a little bit of a difference. And if you guys were, you know, at Athena are willing to join in with us on that, we'd love to take you on that travel.
Absolutely. Yeah. What are you guys currently using? Let's talk about you guys for a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. So 406 Organics, everybody here, we're all a pretty close-knit team. They volunteer their time and everything for this production. And then most everybody here is either a bud tender, and everybody here is actually a grower, just because we all take care of every aspect, and we being most of the people here other than myself.
You help. Don't sell yourself short.
They take care of the day-to-day operations. Tanaki, in between bud tending times, you know, she's over in one of the grow operations, and she's over there feeding, she's over there watering, along with Daniel, Hannah, my wife Michelle. So, you know, everybody has their hands in everything we're doing here, but we run the advanced nutrient line right now. We've got a couple of things from Mammoth, which they're going out as far as their silica and a few other things that we add supplemental. You know, and we're really anxious to look at other alternatives. I know advanced nutrients has been really great in the past, but like you were talking about having to, you know, break down those nutrients and those salts and stuff like that, those are pretty difficult, and it takes a while for, you know, if you don't have hot water or warm water, you know, it's going to be at least a good 30 minutes to an hour of soaking your nutrients before you mix them up. So, you know, the time consumption there, everything else like that is a bit daunting, but you know, the end result, you know, has always been a pretty decent job for us. So yeah, and I guess I'll let everybody else sort of chime in because they're a little more hands-on with the actual gardening portion than I am. I go in there and help where I can.
I really think Nate hit the nail on the head there, and also brought up the most important part, which is that I love advanced nutrients and we grow some dank weed, but that dissolution process can take some time with it. And it absolutely saturates the water and just doesn't dissolve. And I'm really
Absolutely.
looking forward to not having that problem. So
So let me ask you, how many additives do you guys use on top of that base?
we do have I don't want to give the exact recipe, but we do have,
Sure, yeah.
depending on the phase. Veg, we like to keep it simple, but during
Yeah.
flour, we do add a few more. It does get a little heavy in flour, of course, as most things do.
Well, that's the biggest thing. A lot of times, and kind of why Athena started really is because of the same situation is inefficient bases that need the additives to really get anything out of the program. Athena doesn't have additives. Fade is a swap at the very end. It's not something we add to the line or we don't have any bud boosters or terp enhancers or this, that, whatever, that we add to those bases. Everything that you need in that pro line is built into the program. So the plant's going to have all of its nutritional needs built into that line. And really where we get the plant's expression is by controlled stressors. So different irrigation strategies to promote or discourage, more or less drought stress. So different dryback percentages. And then using your environment as well. So kind of pairing your irrigation cues with your environmental cues, using the right products at the right time, obviously, but really just encouraging the plants to go to the gym and pump iron. That's what we're doing. We're giving them the lean proteins and vegetables. We're encouraging them to go to Gold's Gym and just pumping iron all day long. So we want them to have the best output.
Yeah, definitely.
We
So,
do
And
have-
honestly, a quick point. I mean, in the days of efficiency, nowadays it's if your cost to produce is higher than what you're making for it, it's not a sustainable business model. So efficiency is huge. Every bit of labor needs to be cut. Not every bit, but any excessive labor needs to be cut. Anywhere that we can trim a little bit of fat, we have to. And if we can save ourselves from creating more labor by using inefficient products, get more on the back end through both quality and quantity in most cases, that's a winning recipe and a sustainable business model as far as I'm concerned.
agreed.
Absolutely. I know I have some follow-on questions.
Well, Hannah had some questions she was about ready to get to from the chat there
Yeah,
for sure.
from the chat. So we've got a question: how budget friendly is the nutrient line for broke people?
I mean, so we're very competitive as far as cost goes or price point goes. When we talk about solubles, we're all pretty much right about there. Just kind of depends between 10 and 15 cents, give or take a mixed gallon. Some commercial guys, we could probably get a little bit lower price point, but I mean, really, when we're talking pennies per mixed gallon, it's negligible. The blended line comes in a little bit more expensive just because it is it has more parts and it is a liquid. But outside of that, I mean, very, very cost effective compared to a lot of our competition.
I'll jump in from a consumer perspective. I bought the Pro Mix line myself, and it was $110. And since they ship it in dry form, it does not run up the shipping at all. That was my cost, and it was so. I expect to be able to get at least one full run out of these bottles. And
how many lights?
I will just be running a single light. I'll be doing 6 plants in a hydroponic system, ebb and flow. So
nice. So you'll probably get about 3 or 4 full cycle runs out of that Pro Mix kit right there. So if you can spend $100 and get 4 runs out of it, I mean, it's nuts. That's insane.
Yeah,
You're putting the dispensary out of business, buddy.
Sorry, we do have one more question from the chat. How do I get a trial?
I probably at the very end of this stuff, I'll put all my contact information out there. Just give me a call. We'll get some contact details, facility address, or where we're going to be shipping it to, and I'll just set you guys up with something. So no problem.
Right on. Even if we could just get people a discount on that Pro Mix kit, that would be awesome.
We'll set them up. Right. We believe in the products. We know it works very well. It just takes, I mean, a lot of times too, we'll do propagation trials. We'll do veg trials because it doesn't take 3 months long to figure out if you've got results. You'll see it within 6-7 days. You'll see your roots blasting out the clones. You're like, holy cow, I've never seen this before. Your veg, You've got more established, more vigorous plants that are going into flower, more set up for success. And so it's kind of one of those things. If we can set the stage earlier on in the plant's life cycle, we're going to have better results on the back end. And that's really what it's about.
So I got to ask, man, with working with Athena and having access to all these different great grow items and nutrients and everything like that, what are some of your favorite strains to grow?
Man, well, right now I'm rocking. That's a great question. I've always been a chem heavy, sour D, any sour strains, OG heavy. I like greenweed. Purple weed's pretty, but I like smoking real funky, rancid terps. And most of the time, the greenweed gets you there. But this next run I've got going is Great Pie from Canorado. We've got Mai Tai Skittles Cross from the Jungle Boys. I've got Tenko's Blue Zushi, and then I've got the it's Blockberry, but it's Mobile J's selection of Super Boof.
Nice.
Super Boof. You're gonna love our song this week, brother.
So
Nice.
So
yeah,
that is a great segue. That is
Thank you for the segment, sir.
Nice.
Into strain of the week,
Woo.
strain of the year, Super Booth.
From
Daniel
Leafly.
and Hannah were working. I believe Michelle was down here with them working on a song. Just a little quirky thing they got going on over there. It's pretty funny, actually. I promise you, they were not tripping acid at any point during the making.
We were just having a good time.
Well, we're gonna get to the strain of the week song, and then we'll be right back with all the information on strain of the week.
Dashing through the buds in a pipe for in a J with cherry skunks and lemons. I'm boofing all the way. The couch is calling me. The snacks are piled high. I took one hit, now I'm legit just staring at the sky. Oh, super boof, super boof. What's this in my hand? Is it chips or maybe dip? I don't even understand. Hey, super boof, super boof. Dank and kinda weird. Took one puff, now I'm in love and laughing at my beard. The pistol shines so bright, the trichomes make me cheer. It's purple, green, and glittery like weed of yesteryear. But then the munchies hit, I'm digging through my drawer. Found a Pop-Tart from 99 and ate it like a chore. Oh, super boof, super boof. Citrus stuck in spice. It's the kind of buzz that makes you think your couch is talking nice. Hey, super boof, super boof. Dank and goofy too. Took one hit and now I sit debating if I'm a shoe. So here's to Cali Buds and Mobo J's big feet. This Blockberry delight has knocked me off my seat. So pack another bowl or roll another J. With Super Boof, the goofy truth is laughter all the way. Oh, Super Boof, Super Boof. What's this in my hand? Is it chips or maybe dip? I don't even understand. Hey, Super Boof, Super Boof. Dank and kinda weird. Took one puff, now I'm in love and laughing at my beard. Super Boof is king. It's goofy, dank, and bright. So spark it up and sing along. Let's boof the world tonight.
All right, welcome back, and I hope you enjoyed that.
That was fun.
Thank you. So anyway, what do you think of Super Boof?
I love Super Boof. I mean, it's kind of a controversial strain because it is so popular. It hits on every base, checks every box. The yield's there, the terps are there. She's fairly resistant, when it comes to pests or powdery mildew. Overall, a great strain. I think that Blockhead Buds, he's obviously been a breeder for a long time. I don't think he gets enough credit ultimately, but it was a phenomenal selection of Blockberry by Mobile J. So definitely props to him.
Most certainly.
Absolutely. We couldn't agree more. We love putting together that song. If anyone wants to get a copy of that, you should be able to find that on our Spotify. It'll be available on our YouTube, and we're working on putting it out many other ways as well, so y'all can enjoy that anytime you want.
I'm gonna send that to Mobile J directly, so it may be available.
Yeah,
please do.
That would make my life, I think. Oh my God.
No problem. As it was playing, I was actually filming it. I was going to send him a video. Like, check this out, Jay.
If you want a copy of that, we'd be happy to send you the MP4. No problem.
Heck yeah, nice.
So fun.
I was gonna say I seen down there in the bottom tiles over there. I was like, the phone just rose up out of the bottom. Of it.
Yeah, you've seen it. I'm like,
No,
That's how you know you did a good job.
I swear
Doing the
there's
old
no
Korean
acid
movie
involved.
theater trick, like here you go, here's the brand.
Mhm.
Back in the day when you had to download everything like that.
Anyway, yeah. Well, it looks like our audience enjoyed that as well. Thank Queen. I'm glad to see you like that. Gage, welcome. I have not seen you before. And actually, Adamski, I don't think I've seen you in the chat before. It's nice to have you, and nice to see you so active. So welcome.
Yeah, it's always nice seeing some new viewers out there, man. We appreciate it. Make sure you're sharing it with your friends, tagging them in the chat, letting them know what's going on. Spread the word out there, man. Let's get the word out about the podcast. Let's get the word out about Athena Newts. I mean, the word's already out there, but let's definitely share this important, information with them. This is a great chance for people to actually get some good, like, solid Q&A in and things like that.
Most definitely, and I think
we appreciate Athena coming on and giving us all the information out there. And we've had just a plethora of people throughout this year as we're starting to close it out that have shared tons of information with us, attorneys, bail bondsmen. I mean, you name it. We've had pretty much everybody, in the cannabis industry in Montana in some way, shape, or form here. And we just are absolutely looking forward to the next year. Appreciate Ryan joining us here for sure. And, so real quick on that super booth, like what are our terpene profiles and stuff like that on that?
I mean, right. Yeah, I guess we have a segment to do here. Huh?
I was looking for that information. It only gave me that the dominant terpene is myrcene. It didn't have any other terpene profiles for me to find for it.
And that's interesting because we were talking to somebody the other day and they were talking about the fact that there's certain terpenes that they're looking for epilepsy and stuff like that. And depending on where that ranks in their profile, they know that that's probably not something that they should mess with or not. And so I wonder if that's going to be a really good strain for one of those kind of, epilepsies or whether it be, different types of cancer treatments or stuff like that. Be interesting to see the science that comes out of that strain.
I believe humulene is a really good terp for epilepsy and things like that. And also it's really big for like anti-inflammatory, so it kind of helps bring down a lot of swelling and different things like that. But
most definitely.
I'm trying to think. I was just seeing it the other day. Something was really leading in humulene, and I was like, dude, I freaking know which one. And I started to name it. I was like, I got to pull it up just to check. And then right there it was. So just, through, like you said, this year and all of the knowledge and things like that. And Stoner Trivia over there with Tanaki, with all those like brain busters she'd be bringing into the studio sometimes. It really does stick. You're sitting here hanging out, having a good time, chilling. And before you know it, you're picking up tons of knowledge that you can carry on with you throughout your days of the cannabis industry or whatever it is you do.
Absolutely.
Are we segueing into that?
Well, we can, sure. Just real quick, I'm sure that Ryan here could answer some of this, but the only information I can really find about the flavor profile of Super Boof, none of us have had the pleasure of trying it yet, is that it is grapefruit, orange, and citrus, which kind of indicates to me that it is quite a citrusy strain, which would be right up my alley.
Like a lot of limonene in there, probably.
Yeah, it does say it's myrcene, but limonene, I imagine, is pretty high up there as well.
Yeah, I think there's only like one place around right now that's got super boof, and the seeds are not a terpene I like to have.
Yeah, same.
We're definitely going to be trying to get some really good super boof out here soon for sure.
Definitely.
So, but you said that you're growing a line that has super boof included in it, correct, Ryan?
It's just straight super boof by Mobile J. So I've got 4 zones, independent zones. One's going to be the super boof, and then the other 3 zones with the other 3 strains respectively. So yeah, full zone of super boof, very citrus profile, kind of trop in a sense. If you guys are familiar with Tropicana or Tropicana cookies or cherry, it's a good strain. It's absolutely, but very similar terp profiles. So it's a hitter. Everybody loves it.
So where's that going to be available in Montana?
Kind of depends. I'm working some wholesale relationships right now, so we'll see. It's all through the metric market. So once I pull down here, I'm projected. I think it was the 22nd of February. So once I get some samples out, I'll definitely bring some by. Love for you guys to try it.
406 Organics would definitely love to put some on our shelves.
I was going to say, I think we need a clone for our zone as well.
Oh, all right. Well, I do think that is a wonderful opportunity. Go ahead, Tanaki, take it away.
Yeah, I guess we will hop into some Stoner Trivia if you guys have that video.
Yeah, go ahead and put those thinking caps on. Words.
It's getting real.
Smoking like a Rasta, feeling so high. We talk about cannabis and getting fly. Are you smarter than a stoner? Let's find out. Listen up, my friends. I got something to shout. Cannabis knowledge, let it flow through your mind. Getting blazed, smoking loud. We all unwind. Trivia questions, can you keep up the pace? Let's see if you're sharper in this smoky haze.
All right. Well, we're back with those Stoner Trivia questions.
Heck yeah.
I'm going to just go ahead and grab my
B.
Hush up.
It's a head
I
a
think
lot
he's
of time
going with
the
C this
answer
week.
is usually
She's mad because it's true.
okay. Actually,
I
after
think-
that giveaway, I'm grabbing
I'm
that C
kidding.
sticker
I was
up.
going to do it.
I think she's giving you the ultimate number one. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say for us in house this week, let's
Oh, yes,
hold
true.
off on putting our answers up immediately I will kind of cue y'all to put them up so we get a little more interaction from the chat first.
Sounds good to
I
me.
feel like they've been cheating.
They have
Oh
been.
no, the
Filthy
teacher's calling
cheaters
out
getting
the
called
chat
out.
for cheating.
Oh, we'll just wait till the podcast people answer, and then we'll just put that in.
They don't have
They know what they're talking about.
They have Google.
for sure.
If not, Chat GPT it.
All right, we'll go to question number 1. Okay. Question number 1. What is the primary mechanism by which cannabis plants transport water from roots to leaves, and how does this relate to environmental conditions? A. Osmosis, driven by nutrient concentration in the soil. B. Active transportation, controlled by root pressure and photosynthesis rates. C. Transpiration, driven by water potential gradient influenced by humidity and temperature. Or D. Capillary action, determined by the size of the xylem vessel.
Yeah, I don't know this one, but I have 2 good guesses.
I'm gonna guess all the way, but
Yeah, 2 good guesses. Two things.
okay, looks like we got Ryan out there saying C.
I will say one is a bit of a trick answer from, but you might get it cued from.
Ooh,
But you might guess that from.
that question made
previous
his head hurt,
questions.
dude. He was like,
He's like, I'm out of here. This lady is going crazy.
you ever seen a lot of C's in the chat?
Tons of C's in the chat.
Couple of B's.
All right, well, I'm gonna go with a D.
I did go with C this time. I think
Let's see.
that it is has to do with the VPD.
I appreciate that, chat. Y'all coming in really helped me out with my answer there. I just want to copy you guys.
Let's do D.
Hmm.
The correct answer is C.
Nice.
Okay, and that makes sense. Typically, in my experience, you want to have a lower VPD during the vegetative phase, which typically includes a higher humidity, and then you taper that down as you go into the flower phase.
So, for those of our viewers out there who aren't used to the acronyms, what are you talking about?
In veg phase and flower phase?
No, the
No,
VPD.
what is VPD?
What is
okay,
VPD?
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
your wife and I grow with you, and I don't know what it means.
So I think it means vapor pressure differential.
Deficit.
Deficit. Thank you. I always mess up the last part. But it essentially, just like that answer explains there, it essentially measures the amount of water that is in the air, which sort of affects the potential amount of water that the plant can uptake from the ground as well.
Sure. So if you got a really high humidity, it's probably not going to be sucking up any water from the tray.
Not as much, right? Yeah. And I believe that's how it works anyway.
Ryan, it sounds like you got a little bit of knowledge behind you as well on that. You want to chime in real quick?
Yeah, I mean, transpiration is basically a rate of metabolism when it comes to the plant. It's how we can predict how they're growing, how fast they're growing. Overall speaking, like you said, it is due to the vapor pressure deficit, essentially just controlling how open or closed that stomata is, encouraging overall photosynthesis. So essentially, the better transpiration or the higher transpiration rate, you're going to have a more metabolic plant in the sense. You're going to get a higher photosynthetic rate out of it and ultimately just create a little bit more vigor.
Hot damn. We are smart stoners.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. How about that for some stoner trivia? Good guess, everyone in the chat, but it looks like Dank Queen and Christine were the only ones who got it right tonight.
Woo. All right, we ready for the next one, guys?
Onward and upwards.
Number 2. What role does the apical meristem play in the cannabis plant's growth and development? A. It produces root hairs to enhance nutrient absorption. B. It is the growth center at the tips of stems and branches, promoting vertical growth and hormonal regulation. C. It strengthens the plant's vascular system. Or D. It develops trichomes to boost cannabinoid production.
Dang, I feel like these are some advanced grower questions tonight.
Can I check out of this class and get a different?
Go to the 101.
Professor, please.
How are we
I
the
need
only
help.
trivia game without lifelines?
No phone a friend, nothing.
No one would want to
50,
ask the
50.
crew. We'd be like, we don't know either.
No Uncle Steve, no nobody. Like, come
No.
on, somebody phone me a friend.
We got
Uncle Steve's watching the kid.
We got some B's, a C,
We do have a C from Mandy. Mandy, hey, that's a new name I haven't seen before either. Welcome. We're
What's
happy
going
to
on,
see you.
Mandy?
Happy to see you.
In-house, what are we thinking?
I'm ready to answer B. I think that is
Yeah, I
The
think B is
growth
gonna be
center.
the most legitimate answer.
B is
And
the-
to kind of take it back full circle, that's what we're really trying to isolate with meristem tissue culture. So we're taking that apical meristem and we're creating new plants off of it or storing those essentially in a library
as opposed to one of the branches or whatever.
as a clone. Right, exactly.
Oh, okay. So that makes a lot of sense. You on the apical one specifically with this process. Okay, cool.
and, B is the correct answer.
Oh my gosh. Basil's freaking out down here. He's patting himself on the table.
Yeah.
He's got it figured out. He doesn't need us anymore.
Nope.
Petting himself on the couch.
Yeah, I believe that is one of those like child throwing a tantrum with the parents. Like, dude, it is time to go. I want to go to bed.
Yep. Number 3. What is the role of auxins and apical dominance of cannabis plants? And how can these be manipulated during cultivation? A. Auxins promote lateral branch growth and can be reduced by pruning the roots. B. Auxins regulate trichome production, which is critical during the vegetative stage. C. Auxins increase root growth and cannot be influenced by external factors. Or D. Auxins inhibit the growth of side branches by concentrating the apical meristem. Topping reduces their dominance, promoting bushier growth.
I've got a guess. What do you think, chat? Oh, they're committing their
See a
answers
couple
now. They
Ds
do
popping
feel
up.
called out. They are just popping off right now.
Chat is on it. Way to go, chat.
I want you guys to know my secret lifeline is Calvin. He doesn't know it either.
I wonder what happens like that on what was it? Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? When you phone the friend and the friend's like, "What the fuck are you calling me for?" Dude?
Wow, dude, like,
But you just wasted your call.
Well, I think
Yeah,
I
a
have
bunch of
to
Ds
agree with
popping
chat
up.
on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
D is the answer.
D.
Thanks, Lifeline
All
Calvin.
right, D is the correct answer.
Cool. And again, just I kind of go into some of those basics that Nate was talking about earlier. We talked about BPD and other things like that, but even just topping is doing something just as simple as taking that very main branch. And a lot of people have different nodes that they do, all these different SOPs. I've seen people top at first node. I've seen a good rule of thumb be 4 nodes. So choose your own poison, but you just top that very, very middle node and it creates 2 equally strength nodes off of that instead.
We
You can-
prefer ace hedge trimmers.
Yes.
Oh man.
I still have been finding broken off branches from that.
It happens. It happens.
Just dead and
And
sad.
the
being
final
held up by
question.
You were
Sorry,
serious?
yes.
That's my the ace hedge trimmer. I was like, and they said, "Yeah, what
And
kind
that's
know
the
why.
final answer.
What?
It's an ace hedge
of-"
trimmer.
Follow up with, like, what?
Last but not least, number 4. What is the function of the stoma on cannabis leaves and how are they regulated?
I remember this word.
I thought I would end on an easy question.
Stoma.
An
Yeah.
easy question, huh?
Yeah,
The
easy.
stoma.
Finally, one I can answer.
I feel like this one's a repeat.
Bubble. Just so you know, and then we have
Stomata.
the boot thing going on. So do we have a theme going?
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
and on the flat, it probably looks similar.
You know, and
So
I
you
think
chose
misread,
brought to you
it
by
is
Preparation
stomata, not stoma. A, they absorb nutrients regulated by Rett hormones. B, they control gas exchange and water loss. C, they produce THC regulated by the plant's age. Or D, they transport water regulated by soil pH.
Ooh, what does chat say? We've got a couple of different answers this time.
Michelle's trying to show our answer early.
No.
Josh Barnes, what's going on, man? We appreciate you dropping in the chat.
House, what are we thinking? Still
Michelle
seeing a
says
few
B.
chats popping up.
I say B.
Yeah, I'm going B.
And I
B,
think
B, seeing lots of B's, a couple random A's.
Yeah.
yep.
the correct answer is B.
Woo-hoo, woo-hoo.
I did
Basically, little mouths on the underside of the leaves. Be considering back to VPD talk. It's essentially the breathing mechanism of the plant, and it's like the way I understand it is it's open or closed based off of the environment that it's in. You can measure it on a scale from 0 to 500, I believe it is, and 500 would be the most open, most photosynthetic, so the plant's cruising, and as closer to 0 would be the plant's having limiting factors, and it's just kind of it's not being encouraged to grow. So you can actually measure it. It's pretty cool.
And
Wow.
that also has to do with the uptake of CO2 and stuff like that, correct?
All environmentals, absolutely, except for light, I suppose.
Sure. Yeah.
Interesting.
Dang, I feel brain blasted tonight, guys.
Right.
Brain blast.
Some real brain
Okay.
blaster. Holy crap. Definitely been a great show.
Good questions. Nice job.
Oh my
We
goodness.
still do have our news. We can get to that real quick. But I would like to hear a little more from Ryan. Is there anything else over there at Athena, that you guys would like to get out to our audience and everybody out there in Montana? I mean, that we haven't covered tonight.
I mean, as far as products go, or what
just
specifically? What are you thinking?
I mean, whatever you want to get out there. I mean, use this as time to shamelessly promote whatever. Just talk yourself up. You obviously said that you have a wholesale venture going out there as well using the Athena nutrient line. So, I'd like to give you a bit of an open mic right now.
I appreciate it. Yep, I'm a business owner and license holder here in the state. Always been a cultivator personally. I've run a ton of different products in the past, and I was actually commercially cultivating at the time, running a different line. Got the opportunity to try it myself long before I was even with the company, and it just made so much sense. It was super efficient. The end product was phenomenal. Absolutely blew that initial product that we were using for well over a year away, and it was just one of those things. It was kind of an eye opener. I realized that this is something that could change people's lives just based off of how clean it is and the performance that you can get. So overall speaking, like I said in the very beginning, for growers, by growers, that's something that I've always kind of reigned true. We're all from the trenches. We all came up in this situation dealing with the inefficient products and kind of the labors and struggles that surrounds that. And so when Athena started, essentially creating these efficiencies, cutting out labor, it gave a lot of people their lives back. And I think that's a huge, huge component of it all. Aside from that, the facility advisor support, just making sure that the growers are taken care of. If any questions come up, if they need help diagnosing an issue, they just want to show off their products. At the end of the day, that's what we're here for. We're here to help out. And that's something that no other nutrient company has ever done. And you kind of see a lot of them coming out nowadays with a similar program because it has been so successful for us. So, outside of that, we cover both nutrient lines. We've got propagation gel. We call it cuts. We've got an amazing foliar program with our IPM. It's actually called IPM, but it's specifically for integrated pest management, as well as a humic acid product called Stack. Both of those products you can combine and apply simultaneously. So you can combine them in the same tank and hit them at the same time, which is awesome. Saves a ton of time spraying. We talked about the TC kit and all of that. We have a clean line, which is essentially sterilizing cleaning agents used for flipping rooms, cleaning out from previous harvest to setting up sterile for the next harvest. Piece of equipment, we've got a reset foamer, essentially connects to a compressor and then mixes a sterilizing product with a foaming adjuvant and creates kind of a mousse-like foam, essentially creating longer contact time, which, more contact time creates more sterile environments. Which really just sets you up for success that much better. So outside of that, we've got a handful of new nutrient programs. I don't think anybody in the State's kind of qualifying for some of the stuff that we dropped, that we just recently dropped. It's 100+ acres. It's hundreds of thousands of square feet of outdoor kind of thing, a little bit more hemp focused. So we're a broad spectrum company when it comes to this. We can be very competitive with pricing. Overall speaking, if anybody wants to try our products out, I'm more than happy to set up a trial, work with them through that trial, and ultimately, get the results on the back end together.
Awesome.
That's fantastic. I'll take you up on that offer right now, Ryan.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
We are here,
Yep.
for sure. The other thing that you were touching on there is your hemp aspect of it. How does this relate to the hemp aspect, because in Montana, a lot of people don't know this, but we have a pretty good and pretty big hemp industry here in the state of Montana.
Mm-hmm. More of a commodity, it kind of seems nowadays. So everything with growing that outdoor agriculture is going to be very cheap inputs, as few parts as possible. And so we've we've always been very high level for indoor cultivators. And so now we're kind of branching out a little bit, creating a more cost-effective solution for, huge scale farmers. And we've been seeing amazing success out of there. We got growers in Michigan that are using it, that have been trialing it for this past year and absolutely crushing hundreds of acres of hemp or cannabis. It's been really cool. Our team of formulation scientists and everybody on the back end puts a lot of time into this. And again, just kind of finding the efficiencies that the industry's left behind. So it's pretty cool. I'm excited to see the traction in 2025.
Yeah, we're very excited to see where it's going to go for you guys and for everybody else, and hopefully we can join you along the journey. I guess we better get over to the news segment. We're coming up on close to an hour here, and I really appreciate you joining us. We will ask you a few more questions here in just a minute, but we better get to the news.
This update's fresh and real. Tune in with Nate, it's the big deal. Cannabis news with Nate, let's go. Every story makes you glow. Stay informed, don't be late. Cannabis news with Nate.
All right, we're straight back. So we got some really quick news. We got about 4 things to cover real quick, but the first one is Sir Elton John made some headlines today. He was going around saying that legalization is one of the greatest mistakes of all times. That's right. Sir Elton John recently labeled marijuana legalization as a blight and a blunder and something that shouldn't happen. Obviously relating that from some of his own personal addiction issues and stuff like that. But, the one thing that I got to throw out there is that we covered this a couple of weeks ago, and it came from KVR, that there was a recent publication from the University of Colorado and several others that stated that cannabis isn't a gateway drug. And in fact, they're starting to see that where they have legalized cannabis use, there's probably actually some reduction in alcohol use and other type of drug use. So the gateway factor really isn't there. And so I just don't really see the idea that, people are going to really buy onto this when you've got so much science behind it. What do you guys think?
Dare took it off their list.
Yeah, exactly. I think that is exactly correct. As soon as that publication was released, DARE and all of the other anti-drug programs, which, I obviously support keeping that stuff away from kids and all of those things. They've taken marijuana off of their gateway drug list. They've taken marijuana off of a lot of those things.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think while he's singing about the circle of life, I mean, it just shows that the circle of, life is bringing it back to full-fledged marijuana legalization, and everybody across the United States is really wanting that to go on. So the other thing we got is nearly 2/3 of the voters down in Tennessee are screaming that they want legalized cannabis to go on down there. We're talking Democrats and Republicans both in the state of Tennessee. There's some bipartisan efforts going on all the way across the state to legalize it. And I think, that should be a thing that shouts out to all of our legislators that it's time to, end the prohibition. It's time to get into the banking laws that we need. It's time to really get behind some solid cannabis, reform. And I would honestly say that we need to completely deschedule cannabis at this point and allow states to regulate it as they have.
It's good to see they're going to get rid of that Delta 8 dog shit down there in Tennessee, man. Because it's a really good way to ruin your trip down to Gatlinburg or Nashville or something. You could see a little knockoff dispensary with some Delta 8 weed in there or something. But now you're actually going to be able to go out to Gatlinburg and enjoy a nice doobie up there atop the Great Smoky Mountains like it should be.
Absolutely. And you've got, cannabis actually uniting the reds and the blues down there. And I mean, it also take a hit. Take a hit. Maybe take a hit.
Yeah.
Right, but who'd have knew that green was going to bring red and blue together? Like,
I mean,
already done it once before.
I believe every stoner around the world said so.
Hey, I'm just excited. We got a couple newbies in the chat. Again, we got Homegrow 42001 stopping by just to say that they are a new subscriber and they appreciated the show. So we appreciate everyone who's been a part of it this evening. And we appreciate all of you in the audience.
Apparently, Two Socks is joining me for the news.
Yes.
So what do you got reading there, bud? So anyways, there's some dysfunction going on up in Washington, D.C. as the DEA seeks to subpoena FDA officials in the marijuana rescheduling hearing. They got to subpoena their own government officials to get them to come to a hearing about marijuana rescheduling. So, I mean, that's the level of dysfunction we've gotten to in Washington. And I don't really see that anybody who's holding on to the hope of the FDA rescheduling or any of that, I don't really see it happening this year and this time around. I also don't have a lot of hopes for the banking bill either, unless it's a standalone bill. They tried to put that in real quickly into the overall budget. That was shot down pretty quickly. And so, you know, it seems like it's going to be at least another year or so before we get any cannabis relief. I hope I'm wrong with that prediction, but that's where it seems like we're at with the news. But at least in Tennessee, they're going to be smoking down.
Be careful with the FDA getting involved with the DEA over the weed.
With the
'Cause, you know,
THC
if the
and the
FDA
CBD
starts getting into the THC, you're going to start seeing that food pyramid really starting to round itself off.
You need a lot of food all the time.
I'm like, you need to put chocolate chips in Raisin Bran. This is important.
Very
For your
important
fucking health.
nutritional antioxidants to have chocolate chips in your Raisin Bran.
While we're on it, I just want to remind everybody this show is for educational purposes.
Educational only. And we're not giving out financial or legal advice or any other kind of advice. And I mean, if you
For
do this at
entertainment
home, that's on
purposes
you, buddy.
only.
I'm giving you cereal advice. If you're eating Raisin Bran, put chocolate chips in that motherfucker. It's
You know, that's a new life. I didn't know that.
So the last thing that we have out there is a comprehensive review published in Frontier Psychiatry reveals that cannabis may significantly enhance the quality of life for children and adolescents dealing with conditions like autism and epilepsy. The study found evidence that cannabinoids can reduce seizure frequency, improve behavioral symptoms, and alleviate anxiety, offering life-changing benefits for families. You know, I know there's
a famous case about that, right?
Yeah, you know, Cash Hyde was pretty famous behind that.
Is that in Montana?
In Montana, his dad down in Utah started giving him cannabis through his feeding tube and stuff like that. But there's been quite a few other cases that's pretty big. I know Jaden's Journey. I think they started out here in Montana. Now they're in California. You know, a lot with the CBD and all that stuff. There's quite a few people out there that have very touching and compelling stories that this has really done a lot to.
I'm looking
sure.
forward to this kind of research opening up more and more as things become less stigmatized over time.
I just want to go on the record. You all have my permission if I am like not if I am incapacitated and using a feeding tube. You can put weed in it. I
Please.
Put weed in my feeding
I'm
tube.
requesting it. In fact, if I can
Right.
put that, you know, on any living will, like, please feed me weed.
Some people got DNRs. I got feed me weeds, like
Feed
for
me
sure.
weeds.
Like just go ahead and give me weed. We'll see what happens.
You know, and I think this highlights a better point, though, that, you know, it's not just about lighting up. Everybody thinks about cannabis just on the fact of lighting up, getting high, how much THC this, how much did. I mean, this really has affected so many different lives. I mean, cannabis has affected cancer patients, autism patients. I mean, you name the broad spectrum. And so I think it's high time that we really look at this as being something that is beneficial to humans, and we stop BSing and just get behind it.
Do research, figure out where we can use it best, and move forward.
I'm generating a skit in my head right now of being in a coma and getting fed cannabis, and then everybody's asleep in the room. And then they wake up to me breaking a fridge open, and they're like, "What the fuck's going on?" I was like, dude, I got the munchies like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like, you're out of your coma? I'm like, hell yeah, dude, I gotta eat.
I'm hungry.
No, I'm
man.
not out of my coma. I'm out of ice cream.
Hell
Like-
yeah, I, need to- I was dreaming about some Bojangles and this and that, and yeah, it woke me right the fuck up. Like,
Well, with that, that's my news. And you know what? I think we've done a hell of a show tonight. We appreciate every one of our guests out there. Is there any announcements we other than saying thank you to Ryan out there from Athena? We look forward to connecting with you guys and getting you back on in the future and maybe showcasing some of your products a little bit as we're growing and going.
Yes, we were gonna.
Heck yeah.
Where we can find the Athena products at.
Contact information for you. You mentioned you wanted to do some stuff. We have a lot of viewers live and obviously that watch after the show. How can they get a hold of you? How can they reach out? How can they learn more about Athena?
Totally. So again, we prop up a lot of our retailers. So in Billings area, we work with Harvest Tech. Bozeman, Green Thumb Garden Supply. We've got Summer Sun Garden and Brew in Missoula, and then up north we've got Box of Rain and Mission Supply Company. So handful of dealers around there. Outside of that, you can always hit us up on Instagram at athena.ag. You can hit up my personal Instagram at Athena__Ryan. Give me a call. You know, if you guys want, my phone number is 720-617-2299. Call me up. Let's talk cultivation. Let's get some nutrients in your hands. End of the day, you know, reach out. Let's make some magic happen.
Right on. And in addition to all of that, you do for our what states? We actually have quite a lot of viewers outside of Montana as well. So what states are you available in? And for the states that you aren't, I do want to just plug it. I know you love your local retailers, but you can get your nutrients online on the Athena store page itself as well.
Absolutely. I mean, again, we really prop up the retailers. So if you were to jump on Athena's website, create an account, you're going to be paying full MSRP, which, you know, it's kind of a scary price. Go to your local dealer, talk to them about the price point. Again, very competitive, but you know, we want you to go to the stores. We want the hydro stores to survive. And I think that's kind of, you know, been a dying thing as of lately. So
Are you guys
that's a huge point.
yet?
We are global at this point. Huge international market. We've got a handful of facility advisors in Europe. We've got Latin America facility advisors. We've got guys all over the place. Thailand, a handful here in the States as well. So overall speaking, I mean, no matter where you are, you can find our products. You can get the support. You know, we're pretty much everywhere at this point.
Very nice. Well, we've got a global following as well that we've found out quite a bit with our analytics, and it's interesting to see where all our viewers are coming from. It seems like we've got a lot of people who are tuning in, not just from the United States, but from all over the world. So we're happy to get that exposure out for you guys, and hopefully they can pick up some of your products in their local area.
That would be fantastic.
Absolutely. Or hit me up and I can help you find it. So either way.
Awesome. Ryan, we can't thank you enough for joining us tonight.
It was my pleasure. It's been a lot of fun. I was looking forward to this all week.
Heck yeah.
All right, guys, you make sure you hit that like, follow, share, send it to your friends. Those reactions afterwards when you come back, you know, it really helps boost those algorithms. Make sure you guys have a safe and great night, man. We appreciate it.
Stay safe and stay lifted out there.
Have a great night, guys.
Cheers, gang.